The obsidian chamber of the Galactic Council stretched endlessly upward, its crystalline walls refracting light from 1,000 distant stars. Representatives from 47 species sat in their designated spheres, each positioned according to their civilization's age and influence. At the center floated the arbitration platform, where disputes were settled through words rather than weapons, or so the theory went. Cora stood on that platform now, her hands clasped behind her back, her expression carved from stone. The young human ambassador wore the simple gray uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, a stark contrast to the elaborate bioluminescent robes and quantum-threaded garments surrounding her. Behind her, partially obscured by the platform's edge, Adam leaned against a support column with calculated casualness, his eyes scanning the assembly with the trained awareness of a veteran soldier. "The terms are non-negotiable," droned Ambassador Zethor of the Krill Dominion, his chitinous mandibles clicking with each syllable. His species had ruled 3 systems for 12,000 years, a fact he mentioned in every session. "Humanity will surrender all military vessels beyond your home system. You will dismantle your quantum drives, and you will submit to galactic oversight of all technological development." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Valtorians hummed their approval, their crystalline bodies chiming like wind through glass. The Morpheus Collective's hive mind representative pulsed with synchronized light patterns. Even the typically neutral Archeons nodded their massive, ancient heads. Cora remained silent, her dark eyes fixed on Zethor. "Your species," the Krill continued, his tone dripping with condescension, "has been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries. You are children playing with fusion cores. The incident at Proxima Station proves you cannot be trusted with advanced technology." "The incident," Cora said quietly, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade, "where our medical frigate was fired upon without provocation by Krill raiders." Zethor's mandibles snapped shut. "A misunderstanding. Irrelevant to these proceedings." "Irrelevant," Cora repeated, tasting the word. She glanced back at Adam, who gave her the slightest nod. "Let me tell you what's relevant, Ambassador. You've summoned us here under the pretense of negotiation, but you've already made your decision. You want humanity boxed, controlled, neutered. You see us as a threat because in 200 years we've done what took most of your species 20,000. The chamber erupted in indignant chirps, growls, and harmonic protests. High Chancellor Vexana, a Valtorian elder whose body glowed with millennia of accumulated wisdom, raised 3 of her crystalline appendages for silence. "Ambassador Cora," Vexana's voice resonated like struck crystal, "your defensiveness is noted but inappropriate. The Council's concern is legitimate. Humanity's aggression, your refusal to follow established protocols, your reckless innovation, these traits endanger the stability we have maintained for 40,000 years. "Stability," Adam spoke for the first time, pushing off from his column and walking to stand beside Cora. His combat boots echoed in the sudden silence. Unlike Cora's diplomatic uniform, he wore the tactical black of Earth's special operations, and his presence radiated controlled violence. "Is that what you call it? Because from where we're standing, your stability looks a lot like stagnation." Gasps echoed through the chamber. To insult the Council's achievements was to commit diplomatic heresy. "Commander Adam," Zethor hissed, "you are not authorized to speak in these proceedings. And yet, here I am speaking." Adam's smile was dangerous. "You want to know why humanity won't accept your terms? Let me educate you. When the Zephyr Plague hit the outer colonies 3 years ago, which species developed a cure in 48 hours? Humans. When the Morpheus Collective's quantum matrix collapsed, threatening to create a black hole, who stabilized it? A human engineer named Sarah Chen, working alone because your experts said it was impossible. Isolated incidents," Vexana began. "We're not finished," Cora interjected. She pulled a data crystal from her uniform and tossed it into the air. It projected a holographic star map of the galaxy. "This council has been around for 40,000 years. In that time, you've explored 30% of the galaxy. You've made contact with 63 species. You've solved exactly 4 major galactic crises." The map shifted, highlighting regions in blue. "In 200 years, humanity has explored an additional 8%. We've made first contact with 17 species you didn't know existed. And we've prevented or resolved 9 major incidents, most of which this council was either ignoring or too slow to address." "Your point?" Zethor demanded, though his mandibles trembled slightly. Our point, Adam said, stepping forward, is that you're not afraid we'll misuse technology. You're afraid we'll outpace you. You're afraid that in another 200 years humanity will be so far ahead that your ancient empires will be footnotes in our history books. The chamber exploded into chaos. Representatives shouted in a dozen languages, their translation matrices struggling to keep pace. The Archaeons, who had remained silent throughout, suddenly rose from their spheres, their massive forms causing the entire chamber to shake. Enough! The eldest Archaeon's voice boomed like thunder through dying stars. Silence fell instantly. These beings had been ancient when most species in the room were still single-celled organisms. The humans speak uncomfortable truths. We have grown complacent. We have mistaken longevity for wisdom. Zathor sputtered. You cannot possibly. We can, and we do. The Archaeon turned its immense, crater-scarred face toward Korra and Adam. But truth does not negate danger. Humanity's rapid advancement is unprecedented. If we do not guide you, contain you, we risk galactic catastrophe. Korra smiled then, and it was not a pleasant expression. Here's another uncomfortable truth, Elder. You can't contain us. Even if we agreed to your terms, which we won't, it wouldn't matter. You're trying to cage a species that turned a barren moon into a garden, that crossed the void in ships made of salvaged mining equipment, that looks at impossible problems and sees only challenges. She stepped to the edge of the platform, addressing the entire council now. You want to dismantle our military? Fine. We'll build better ships from civilian vessels. You want to control our technology? We'll innovate around your restrictions. You want us to submit? We're the species that was told we'd never survive our own nuclear age, that we'd destroy ourselves before reaching the stars. And yet, here we stand. Adam moved beside her, his hand resting casually on the grip of his sidearm, a gesture every species in the room understood. You have a choice to make. You can try to force your terms on us, which will end in war. And let me be clear, you will not win that war. Not because we're more powerful, but because we're too stubborn to lose. Or, Korra continued, her voice softening slightly, you can accept us as equals. Let us contribute to this council without shackles. We're not asking for dominance. We're asking for respect. The silence that followed was profound. Civilizations that had stood for millennia grappled with a reality they'd never faced. A species that refused to be anything less than sovereign, that would rather burn than bow. Finally, Vexena spoke, her crystalline form dimming with what might have been resignation or respect. The council will adjourn to deliberate. Take your time, Adam said casually. We'll be at our ship. But I should mention, we're leaving the system in 6 hours with or without an agreement. As Korra and Adam walked toward the exit, the council erupted behind them once more. But this time, Korra caught notes of something different in the chaos. Not just anger and fear, but grudging admiration. In the corridor outside, Adam grinned at her. Think they'll cave? Doesn't matter, Korra replied. They needed to understand that humanity doesn't negotiate from weakness. Whatever happens next, we go forward on our terms. Behind them, through the crystalline walls, they could see the council's deliberations growing more heated. Alliances that had stood for ages were fracturing. The galactic order was changing, and humanity, barely 2 centuries old among civilizations measured in millennia, had just proven why they were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because of their weapons or their technology, but because they simply refused to accept anyone else's definition of their limits. The galaxy would never be the same.